Welcome to How to Edit a Photo in After Effects. So a lot of times I use Photoshop, obviously, but why After Effects? Well, the reason why I like it is I can make tons of layers. They're easy to manipulate. And with masks, I can change the masks after the fact. So like cut out pieces. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go to this project. Now, first of all, so you want to use After Effects to edit a photo. I'll show you how to get the photo into After Effects. You probably already know, but we'll go up to File, Import, File, and you can pick a photo from here. So let's pick this one here, double click, and now it is in our project. In a second. It's just chugging a bit. It's slow, very slow. There we go. Let's see. So now it's opening up Camera Raw, which is part of the Adobe Creative Suite, which Adobe Photoshop and After Effects are part of. Also, you get Audition and Adobe Animate, which is like Flash for animation, all sorts of fun things. Now it's not showing my photo. Oh, that could have just been a black photo. Bad choice for a tutorial. Let's import again, File, and let's pick another one here. Let's try first one. And there we go. Okay, so this is actually the first photo that I edited in After Effects. Let's just throw it onto, I'm just clicking it and dropping it here. Now, if you wanted to start a new composition, you throw it onto this one here. Let's try that. There. So this is the photo you want to work on, and now it's in After Effects. So the reason why I love using After Effects for photos is for a photo like this. So what I had to do is cut out all of these circles here. So I'm going to Control plus and zoom in. And I had to do this one by one. I'm going to click around here. So it's sort of like Photoshop, but you can manipulate. Let's go down to the photo, bottom left-hand corner, masks, and let's invert it. There. So now that's where the hole is. You've cut that out. Let's grab one of these. So let's say we do, here's the difference from Photoshop. We're going to do two masks, cut these out. And with this one, let's go mask and subtract. Because the first one's sort of like the base cutout, the base mask. And then the second ones you have to subtract or add. You have the option. So in Photoshop, if I did this, I don't have too much control over if I want to re-edit one of my masks. As far as I know, I'm no Photoshop whiz by any means, but I can just do it in After Effects. So I just do it here. For certain photos, if it's easy, I do it in Photoshop. So see, after the fact, I can go, oh no, this was not done properly, and I can grab these little keyframes and move them around. I can also manipulate them after the fact. I could go mask expansion and go, oh, that's way too small. I wanted it to be a bigger hole. And I can go big. I can feather the mask down here in the controls, like so. And I can go, let's take the mask expansion inside, get rid of the feather, and you have this cut out. So you just have way more options after you've done your masking. So whenever there's elaborate masking or a lot of things I have to cut out, a lot of times I just do it in After Effects. Now, again, if you have no experience in After Effects, basically it's a Photoshop for video. So you have all your effects over here, but more controls, I would say, and more effects. So in Photoshop, you're sort of limited with green screen stuff. You can do it. But in here, you have like award-winning, Oscar-winning green screen software. So for, let's say, keying, let's go to keying right here. So the program I'm talking about is called Keylight. I believe it's won Oscars. They use it in tons of movies. So you're using like top of the line effects. So that's why I come in here a lot. You can use it set up for layers. It's more of a layer system where Photoshop isn't. So I almost find it superior to do photos in here, unless they're quick and easy, at which point I'll jump into Photoshop. And a lot of times I'll send them out of here which I'll quickly show you. So let's say I'm done. I'm going to show you the photo I'm actually working on right now, the second one. So let's go to, you want this out of here. You go to Composition, Save Frame As, File, and then you can save a photo. And a lot of times I'll leave it in the PSD format. That's Photoshop. So you're not losing any quality. And I'll just throw it in here and say tutorial and save. And now where was that again? Let's just see. It's sitting in B Stonemaker. And I'm working on photos for Stonemaker. It's a amazing company that builds machines that you pull behind your truck, and it makes bricks. So you can get sand from your property, pour it into the top of the machine, and it will use compressed earth technology. And you put a little bit of cement in there, and you can make any type of brick or tile. So yeah, it's fantastic. And I'm just doing a little bit of work for them. Let's go to, okay, so it's in the B Stonemaker. I have Photoshop already open. Let's go to File, Open. And now why am I doing this? I will tell you. But let's go to B and Stonemaker. Double click the tutorial, which is where? That's odd. Oh, before it shows up, you have to hit render. Okay, sorry about that. So tutorial, it's all set up. You said where you wanted it to go, what folder. You're going to hit render. It's going to render. Oh, we heard that little success sound there. Now it's going to be in the folder. We're going to go to Photoshop. Okay, we're going to go to Photoshop. I already have it open. Open. B Stonemaker, and we're going to find tutorial right there. Double click it, and here it is. And it has those two little pieces cut out of it. At which point, this is where I export it. So I have lots of ways to export it. After Effects isn't really set up for compression that well. It's more for high-end video effects. So I'm going to go to Export. Save for web, and I can either shrink. It's 4 megabytes. I can go up to quality here and get it to a reasonable file size. You know, like 2 megabytes isn't too bad. I would go to save, and I would throw it into a folder, and it will give you a JPEG at that size. So this is where I export things. And you can shrink the image in here as well. Go to image size, and you can control how big the photo is, which will shrink the file size. So I use this just for the export portion of it, depending on the client that I'm working with and what size they want. So let's go back to After Effects. I'm going to take you into my actual file that I'm working on. So here it is here. Here's the next one. And I'll show you the problem I have and why I brought it into After Effects. I probably already explained it, but let's show you me in motion here. So let's look at, we have these shape layers. Sometimes let's get rid of those. And I have this soloed right now. So I have a background already in here. And I can show you how to do this gradient background if you'd like. It's very simple. I use it on lots of things. Let's turn off the layers here. So I have shadow layers, and this is a gradient, and I believe all I did was make a white solid by going up to Layer, New, Solid. Now what color do you want to make it? If you want to do what I did, you click this little color picker, just bring it over here to the white corner, click OK, and now you have another white solid. Now, if you know what effects you want to use, and there's tons of amazing effects in After Effects. But I'll type in, I believe it's just gradient. It's like a gradient ramp. I'm going to grab that, left click it, and drag it over to the white solid 2, at which point right away you have a gradient. You can grab, I think, this right here and change how the gradient works. And the angle, and whatever you'd like. You have more controls over here. You could change it to a different color. Let's go here and go red. You have a red gradient. So I like that about After Effects as well. There's just so many amazing effects. Let's turn this back on and I will show you layer by layer. Let's just delete this so it's easier on the computer. So there's the gradient. And let's turn on. That is basically just the shadow of the machine itself. And how I did that was I copied the layer. So you can Control D is just duplicate. So all I did was Control D, and there's another layer. So I turn off the original layer, and you just go into Effects, Color Correction, and then go down to Hue and Saturation. And we're just going to make it like a black version of the machine. So let's go to Lightness and go down to -100. And there you go. You have a shadow layer. Let's turn on the original layer. And now let's just move it so it's part of a shadow. I'm going to go to this little drop down here for a shadow layer. Now, a lot of times you want to name these things because if you get like 100 layers in here, it gets so confusing. So I've learned to be organized. Not that organized, but I'm trying to get more organized. So let's hit enter and we can rename this shadow layer. I highly recommend doing this, especially when it's a really elaborate project. Shadow, and hit enter, and now that shadow, you know exactly where to go. Let's do the same thing for this. Call it machine. Now, what was this shot 2 I had going there? I'm not quite sure what that is. Oh, I see. I see. Actually, that's the one I want. I've already done the one down. So I have the wrong stuff here. So let's see. Is this the shadow? Nope. Okay, so I'm working on this shot. Let's go. So I guess I just started this. What's this one? So this is the old project, and it looks like I just started this one. Okay, so that's good for you guys to jump in here. So let's, first of all, I think I'm going to make the machine a little bigger. How do I do that? Well, just click the drop down. And we want, these are all the masks I have already on there. So I have done some work. We're going to go to the transform here where we can get to our scale. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Maybe that's good there. Okay, so we have that bigger now. And then the reason why I haven't made a shadow layer for this yet is because I'm not done with the actual photo. So I have made all of these masks and I can manipulate any one. So if we turn, so I've cut around here and you can move these whenever you want. So if you change your mind, which Photoshop doesn't allow you to do as far as I know. I find this is so powerful. And again, that's why I use After Effects for a lot of photos. So I can go in here and quickly, I have to finish. I want to cut out this background so it shows through. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to cut this out because this piece is part of the machine. And I'm just going to click around here. And the beauty is I can always change these after, so they don't have to be super accurate. And I'm just going to click, click, click. I had to do these photos anyway, so I thought I would do a YouTube video and then hopefully someone learns something from it. Someone can get some value from it, and it's not as boring for me. Because sometimes doing these jobs, now there's a machine there. So I want to cut this piece of wood out. It was in the background. I should show you guys what the actual photo looks like, but I'm guessing you know, there's a huge background. I shot it in a factory, so there's all sorts of stuff in the background I want to get rid of. I want to make it look like it's a professional thing. Now I have in the past surrounded this machine in like a green screen. So all I had to do is like click and delete. The only thing is the company wanted me to do multiple angles. So I would have had to move this huge green screen everywhere and light it so it would key properly. And I found it would be easier for me because with the green screen like that, I'd almost want to bring in a helper. at which point I have to pay the helper, I thought I could just do this. Just go into After Effects in my own time because there was no hurry for the photos. There was a huge hurry. I would have hired an assistant and set up the green screen and done it that way, because these little holes are a pain in the butt to do. This many details. So now I tried originally to see if I could use the magic wand tool, which is in Photoshop, to do this, but it was not working very well. And I'm always looking for the quickest way to do a job. Then you can do more work and you make more money. And more money is good. Now, I just switched over to the hand tool. I believe G is the hotkey. Boom, I'm right back to the pen tool. So hotkeys are huge as far as workflow. You can get more done faster if you know all the hotkeys. It just saves you time. And time, again, is money. You can do a job for these guys and then another client and then keep, moving on. So hotkeys mean money. So find out the hotkeys if you're doing a job. And there's just Google After Effects and hotkeys. You know what? I should do a YouTube video about all the sweet hotkeys that speed up your work in After Effects. There's some that I just love. Like, most are useless, but there's some amazing ones that save you tons of time. And I will do that, just so if I forget them, because if I haven't used After Effects in a while, you forget the hotkeys. So it'd be nice to have a video. I could just watch my own video and train myself up if I forget. Because the hotkeys are different for Adobe Premiere, which is the editing software in the Adobe Creative Suite package. Now, one thing I do recommend is going into Edit and Preferences and make sure it's on autosave. And I have it every 10 minutes. A lot of times I'll do it every 5 minutes. Depends what type of computer I'm working on, because it can crash. This is an advanced program and things can crash. So you always want to be, saving it yourself or have it automatically do it. And then it saved my butt a few times. You get burned a few times and then you just do it. And then there's a little folder it makes and it's saving it inside the folder. And you can reopen it. You can go back a few steps. Maybe one of your effects isn't working well with another effect, or you're asking your computer too much, or your computer is not the greatest, and you then can go to that folder and reopen it back up. So now, why aren't these deleting, you ask? Because I haven't told After Effects to delete them yet. It's just, I'm going to do it all in one big swoop. I'm not going to worry about those little ones there. This one's all right. So the reason why I had to take the photo was because StoneMaker has revamped their machine. They sell them all over the world. Mostly Europe, in the Middle East, but they're in North America as well. It's cutting edge technology. They're continually, working on the machine to make it better and better and better. And this is their new model, the DM100. You go to stonemaker.com, and if you were interested, you could contact Finn, who's the boss. He's in charge, and you can get a quote. And these machines make people tons of money. I do have a video of clients that have, thousands of bricks they've made in fields, and it's just mind-blowing what people do with these machines. Okay, so those are pretty much done. This is the machine here. I'm not too... Oop. Control Z, get off that. I'm holding the space bar here to move things around. It's the hand tool. I may leave this stuff because this is my last section. And thank goodness you guys are joining me, because this is boring when you have to do repetitive stuff. I'm going to do the hotkey Control plus, and then Control minus goes in and out. But you can also use the magnify tool, which is over here, and it does the same thing. But I just like the Control. I find it's more control. Using the Control button to control more. All right, so we're almost going to be done here, and I'm going to show you the next step. Let's speed things up, because like I said, you don't have to be perfect. You can go in after the case and fix things. Now you can always just hover over and move it real quick in case you don't want to come back in, which saves you time. But let's just quickly go here. We'll pick up the speed. I'll just go in this row. We'll see. If I don't have anything interesting to say, I may speed this part of the video up. What can I say here? Now, I think I did color correct this photo and brighten it up. That's why it's so grainy here. And again, because we zoomed in. You're looking at things in high detail. Okay. If you guys have any questions about After Effects, comment below. I'm pretty good in it. I'm working on a show that I've worked on since 2008 called Spell Fury. It's a fantasy adventure web series, and I use After Effects a lot in it. In fact, I may do another video about the shot I'm working on, where you can track your video shot, in this case a drone video, of a European countryside. And what I'm trying to do is put a castle and fantasy creatures into the moving shot of the drone. So I'm using camera resolve here in After Effects. I won't show you in this video, but if you are curious, comment below. Of course, like the video. That helps with YouTube's algorithm, so more people can see this and learn. But use camera resolve and track the footage, and then you can put things in. And if you guys comment below, I'll do a video about it. I sometimes forget about all the videos I want to do, but I love sharing and teaching people how to do stuff in mostly the Creative Suite package or other programs as well. So how close am I getting here? I still probably have 5 minutes. I'm going to leave that stuff there. Let's move that one up there. Now, as you can see, it's color coding all of these masks, which is good when you look over down here and you see I now have 83 masks, but they're color coded. It's trying to mix it up so I can then, if I have an issue with one, I can click in. Now you can name masks as well, which is great, but I have so many masks here of pretty much the same thing that I'm not too concerned with naming them. The color coding system will work for me. That was a bad one there. And I'll show you one trick I'm going to do here at the end that I did on the first one. The thing is, I believe I switched it off there. I'm going to hit G, back to the pen tool. I believe I've got maybe another, maybe 8 more photos to edit with this machine. So this is time consuming, but hey, I'm getting paid to do it, so I'm good. And if I wasn't recording a video, I might put on some music, or I could put a podcast on, or a YouTube video, an audiobook, something with no video. And so I could be learning while I do this repetitive cutting out process. I guess I could start at the bottom and move my, oh, frig. Okay, there's more down there. All right. Who knows, I may speed this part up to save you guys from the monotony. But hit G. Now you can use this on video footage, which is fantastic, to cut out things, cut around things. Now you do, I believe, have to have a sort of good computer if you have lots of layers in After Effects. It's made for good computers. So I'm using a GTX 1080, which is a great video card. I've had it for quite a while. It's an older card. But if you want to do, quality work with lots of layers and lots of information, I recommend getting a good video card. But this is an older card. You may be able to get a deal on it. But it's worked great so far. And there. Okay, so, I have a whole pile more. These things are actually pretty cool. They look like from Empire Strikes Back, I think, like the backgrounds, like this type of shape. I think I remember seeing something like this. I could be wrong, but it looks familiar. All right, we're getting close here, guys, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay. Picking up speed. Now, you use this tool a lot if you're doing green screen work, and the green screen was lit badly, and you can chop actors out frame by frame, which I should actually do a tutorial on because I have a pretty good system. And if you're doing video, this is super time consuming. Okay, so now I have them all selected. So what I'd like to do is go over here, and I'm going to highlight them all. Oh, wait, is there one rogue one in there? This mask doesn't have an add on it. Interesting. Okay, so these are all subtract. I'm going to hit mask 31, left click it, go all the way to the bottom here, and highlight them all. I'm going to shift click all of them. And so I clicked left click there. I highlighted them all. Add, we're going to go to subtract. And they're all gone. So some of them aren't cut out the best. So what I'm going to do, let's have a look at these top ones. I believe I put an expansion on them. No, I didn't. Huh. Okay, I'm going to highlight all of these and just expand them just a bit. So I clicked that left one, I selected it. I'm going all the way to the bottom. Left shift click. There we go. And I hopefully can do a mass expansion on all of these. So let's go mass expansion 1 pixel. So it made them all a bit bigger. Now some of these aren't the greatest. So now they're not selected now. So let's go back up. They're all sort of dropped down here. Let's go back to the top and shift click them all. I'm going to put a bit of feathering on it and see what happens. All I'm going to do is the least amount of work as possible, but high quality stuff. If I have to go in and reshape these, let's go feather 3. Will that help out some of our shapes? See, that's a little better. It sort of hides any of these not perfect circles. And at a distance, it's not bad. Let's see if there's any like rogue ones that are horrible. This one's a little weird shape-wise. So let's just select it, and they all shoot up here. And which one was it? This one here. I'm gonna grab that and pull that up. Is any other weird ones? That's a weird one. Fix that. Fix this shape here. See, this I can't find in Photoshop where I can do this. I don't know why it's not in there. Their masks are silly. Now again, I'm no whiz by any means in Photoshop. Perhaps there's a way, but nothing that I can see so far. If you know how to do this in Photoshop, please let me know, because then you could just stick inside of Photoshop. But there's all sorts of extra stuff you can do in this as well. So nothing looks terrible in here. Maybe this, get this more parallel. Bring up this corner. And see, we've got that bit of feathering, so it's not, it just sort of smooths things out a bit. Yeah, because your eye's sort of drawn to this side here. This one, let's go select the layer so all the masks shoot up. This one's a little too angular. Okay, and again, they're going to see it from a distance, and you're going to compress it down too. So there we go. So it's all, I've cut this all out. And the first layer here, let's see, let's go none. Yay, there's a background. So I've cut that out. And we'll go add. Now I just noticed that this here, let's go, is a different layer it must be. What's this here? Okay, so that's been deleted. So everything seems to be deleted. And I'm happy with this. Now it's time to do the shadow, like before. So we're going to go here, Control D. And we're going to turn off our machine layer. Let's just name this shadow. And let's name this machine 2 because I've already done one photo. Shadow, we're going to go to Effect, Color Correction, go down to Hue and Saturation, and bring down the lightness. Boom, done. All right, so let's turn back on the machine. Now you can't see the layer because it's exactly behind the layer. Let us go to, oh my God, all these masks there. Shut down the masks. And we want to position this off just a bit. And let's just, we're going to turn the opacity down so it's lighter. Okay, so there's a bit of a shadow now. Now, something showed up here. This is some of the background we got to get rid of. So let's quickly go to the machine and let's add, we're going to go up to the pen tool up here and left click. And let's add some more masks because this can't show. I missed some of it. And we will quickly do up some masks here. So again, you guys already saw where you can go in and you subtract these pieces from the photo. Okay, I'll have this done quick. Now you can do curves on these as well. You can click and hold and you can manipulate these. I believe if you hold down Alt, there, you can turn it into a curved edge and you can control this stuff. But I find if I can get away with just doing straight lines, I'll do it because it's faster. And this can be a bit tedious. Some people are good at this. You can add a new point by hovering over and then you can move this. So you can add more keyframes. Okay, so see for this, you could curve it, but I just find if I can get away with just going click, 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 I'm good. I'm not getting too fancy dancy. And that's done there. Now you can change the color of the mask as well. So if the mask layer is open with all the masks, you can click the color and change it. Because this was hard to see right there. It's fine enough to do the job. But you can always make them red or green, and so they really stand out. I'll show you guys how to do that in a sec. Okay, so is that it? Yes, that's it. Let's go to this layer here. This is the photo layer. And drop down. And we'll drop down the masks. Okay, so the new masks are down here. I'm just using my scroll wheel on my mouse. And let's say that last layer, you just click this little color square here and change it to red. Move this over here. Hit OK. And now it's red. It's easier to see. So let's grab these masks I just made. I click that one. And the bottom one, I'm going to shift click it. Boom. All selected. Now, instead of add, we need to, you know it, subtract. And let's go to subtract. And there you go. Now we've deleted the part that I needed to be deleted. All right, so let's turn that off. And let's look at the shadow layer. The shadow. All right, so what do we want to do with this? Maybe bring it down a bit more. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's these feet here. I want to keep it close. Now what we're going to do is take the shadow, highlight it, and we can go up to the effects here and type in blur, which will bring up our Gaussian blur, which is my favorite blur of all time. Grab that. I'm going to left click, pull it over, put it on the shadow. Then up here in the effect controls, we're going to blur it. We're going to add, let's see. We're going to really blur it. How about 100? There we go. So you can soften the blur on it. And this will just give it more of a 3D feel. Now maybe we'll take it off like that. So I don't like that it's sort of over here. Why is it? Oh, because we cut out the pieces on the machine layer after we made the shadow. So we actually have to go in and cut out pieces of the shadow. Let me see here. So what we're going to do here is solo the layer. How do you do that, you ask? Well, we just hit this little solo button, this circle. Now it's just a shadow. Only thing is I can't see it. So let's go to Effects, Hue and Saturation. There's this little Effects button over here. Let's left click it, and it turns off what we did there. Also, I want the blur off because I want to cut some pieces out. Let's turn the blur off. And there we go. Now we could bring up the opacity of it, but I should be fine. And this doesn't have to be too exact because, again, it's just a shadow. The shadow. The shadow walks the street at night, scaring the criminals to death. He's Batman's best friend. Is there a shadow? Yeah, he's a DC character, I believe. I don't know much about him. I think, right? And there's the shadow in Gamers, which is a funny web series type thing, and they make movies. The shadow. All right. Anyways, enough about that. Let's quickly cut these out. That's the thing. When you make a duplicate layer and you make changes to the main layer, you have to go back in and change things. Or I could have just quickly made a new shadow. But we did it this way. There's multiple ways to do things. So all these mask layers are scrolled down so you can get their effects, but we will find our new stuff quickly using the scroll wheel. Wow, there's a lot of masks. Let's keep on going here till we get to the added ones. There you are. Left click, shift click, and subtract. Okay, now things are back to normal. So what do we have to do? We have to turn our effects back on. And man, that's a lot of masks. And I guess I could like highlight them and then shift click, or not shift click, but just click this little drop down thing and shut some of these because we don't need all these features. Let's just go up here and just hit this little arrow tool and just get rid of some of this stuff. I'm not too picky, but maybe as we're here. Okay, anyways, we could always do that. Let's go to, let's do it to the mask. Let's turn this little arrow tool and let's turn these back on. We want the hue and saturation effect back on. We want the Gaussian blur back on, and we're going to turn this solo off. Solo just means you're isolating just that layer. We're going to turn it off, and then we're back to normal. And now we actually have the shadow properly. What do I want to do here? I think it's not working for me. What I would like to do is maybe scale up this shadow layer. Give it a little bit more heft to it, more shadow. And then maybe soften it more. Maybe take down the opacity just a bit. Let's go, type in 25. I just clicked it, type in 25. And that's a little, you still get some type of depth to it, but it's not in your face. Maybe, I don't know, back to 30. Maybe we'll stick with that. That looks nice. And okay, so like before, I don't like that it sort of looks like it's flying, but it just gives it depth. I could go a little higher with the position. Okay. Let's try that. That's a little better. Okay. I think I'm good with that. So this will go File. Let's just save this After Effects file. If we want to come back in here. So I've named this B. I'm just going to go B2. So I know this is the second shot that I worked on. If I want to make any changes, I can do it by reopening that layer. Or sorry, not layer, project. So let's go to File. And I want to, oh, actually no. I want to kick out the picture, composition, save frame as, file, go down here, and we want to go to Photoshop. Yep, that's fine. And this is going to throw us into Stonemaker, and this is shot 2, and we're going to say B because we've made changes. And you can always go back to your original version if you want to. So I'm always making different file names through the whole process in case I have to go in and copy and paste something and bring it into the newer one. I've had to do that multiple times. So let's do that, save, and over here on the right is render. So it's just going to make it into a file. There we go. Now we're going to go to Photoshop here, and we're going to open a new one. So File, Open. And where's our file? Shot 2B. There, now let's just look at this first one. Any differences? It's a little bigger in there, but see, the thing is this is up. And that one looks a little brighter. We want to brighten this up just a bit. Let's just leave it as is for now. Oh, okay, now let's go Image. We're going to go to Levels. And let's just brighten it up just a bit. Darken the blacks just a bit. And I think that's better. Let's see. I want them to be sort of consistent. This one's a little blown out through there, but let's stick with that. And I'm going to go to File. Save this as well. Save it as the same name as that there. Now this is going to be a PSD as well as a Photoshop file. We're going to do this and just go, we'll say this one is in Photoshop. All right. You always want to label stuff, trust me. Okay, File, Export. And now, let's let it do its thing here. It's going to make multiple versions of it. I want this to be smaller. Maybe let's go 2 megabytes. The client wants a big version and a smaller version. I can do that, but first I want to see if the client likes it. So I'm going to go to Save. It's going to make a JPEG. And let's put it in the right folder. Again, organization is everything. And we're going to go to Stonemaker. And that was the first one. Let's call this one the second one. Not the greatest naming, but it'll do for now. All right, so now what I want to ask the client is, do they want them all done like this? Or do they have another idea of what they want done with them? Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please give me a like and a subscribe and hit that notification so you get all the cool videos. And thanks so much for watching. And I will talk to you guys later. Cheers. Bye.